Can you be pro-black and date outside your race?
Absolutely not.
And
I tend to agree with him on this one.
If I walk in and you say he's pro-black, because this is what people say when they see me. It'll be 1,000 blacks. He's pro-black. Do you know what you're saying about everybody else in here?
Nah,
they're fucking coons. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. We're the only people. We're the people who are for us are the minority. Think about that. But you have to describe people who care about black people as pro-black.
Had a lot of conversations with people about this topic, a lot of heated debates. People want to know, can you be pro-black and date outside your race?
Absolutely not.
And I got my good brother right here, who's an advocate, and he says that you can be pro-black and date outside.
Impossible. Your savings, your estate, your wealth, you commit that to that person you're married to.
I don't know. So what do you think about that?
I tend to agree with him on this one.
What, you can't be pro-black and date white and marry date white? What did you say? Okay, all right. Well, that was cool. Let me ask you this. If a white person said they were pro-white, would they get pushback on that?
I've never heard of pro-white.
So some people will say...
Before we get into that,
okay,
what would be your description of a pro-black person?
I hate the term pro-black.
Okay.
Because I never heard of a pro-Mexican or pro-Jew.
The whole pro-black thing, I could say that I don't think that I'm just completely pro-black. I think that we support black things because I am black. I think we support, white things because you are white. But I think just for the majority of stuff that we do, for a percentage of stuff we do, what'd you say, 70, I don't know, what'd you say?
I said 75, 80, but I would say that we're more, I support a healthy relationship and a loving relationship.
Yeah. I don't think we think about race that much.
No, I would prefer to see two people who are loving together than people staying in a relationship that might not be ideal just because of color.
This is how messed up we are. Not you for saying pro-black, but for you to have to define a black person as pro-black. Do you know what that means?
Right.
That automatically means by contraindication that most black people are anti-black.
That's a fact.
Do you feel me?
If you're pro-black, I don't think that you would be... I think you would be against dating outside of your race because it could lead to marriage, it could lead to children, and I feel like that takes away some of the 100% black.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
You cannot. Marriage is a business. When you get married, you commit your mind, your body, your heart, your soul, and your pocketbook, your savings, your estate, your wealth. You commit that to that person you're married to. See, when you marry, you don't marry an individual. You marry into a race. You marry into a community. So I didn't marry a Jewish woman. I married into Jewish society. I didn't marry an Asian woman. I married into an Asian family. There's no way you can claim to love black people, especially as a black man, knowing that only 1 out of every 4 black women will get married in her lifetime. We have the lowest female marriage rate in the country.
So I guess my question would be, I guess
why?
Well, no, not why, but I would guess my question would be is that, so if you're pro-black, but you don't get married, can you still be pro-black? If you're not married, but you're quote unquote pro-black, but we have this discrepancy in, women in our community not being married. So I don't know, is that not being pro-black if you choose not to get married and then you also choose not to have children? Or if you have children or have multiple children, by, black women, but you're still not married, but you have multiple baby mamas, are you still pro-black?
I would say, yeah. If you're...
So that's pro-black?
You're building up the black community.
Yeah, but are you building up the right way, though?
And so you never know. You never know what any of those children are going to turn into. You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't. But I will say, I'm not going to say. That's what I'm going to say.
Necessarily think that means you're anti-black, because usually when I think of the word pro, usually is the most extreme of something, right? This is why when you have pro-life and everything else, when you put pro in front of something, that means the most extreme. I think people confuse being proud to be black with being pro-black.
I'm pro-fun.
Yeah. Let's just say pro-fun. Pro-fun. Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to come out right, but I feel like it's easier to grow old in a black community than it is in a white community. I feel like white people, they turn a certain age and all they want to do is just sit home in their garage.
Oh.
But I feel like black people still go out and they still
we like to dance.
They'll listen to music, they meetups
people are
I
proud to
don't
be
think
black.
I don't see how one could exist without the other.
What?
If I'm proud to be black, I'm pro-black. I'm for my people.
So we just came off Bike Week, Black Bike Week at that. Did you hear anybody talking about pro-black down at Bike Week?
No.
No, there was some sprinkling of those white people. Anyway, we went to a couple clubs. There was nothing. She was pretty much the only white person in there. My whole point is, in that whole instance, I didn't hear anybody talking about anything about pro-black. At the table, we sat at with the couples. They were all black. Nobody said anything about being pro-black. When all the other people we hung out with the other nights, nobody said anything. But the only thing I ever hear about pro-black is on the internet. But there's no black and white, this. It's just we have a common interest. I think more if you got common interests and stuff. I think it transcends skin color to a degree.
Yeah, because when you have no other common interests, the only common thing that you have is the color of your skin. So
But some people might say, like, when you look up the definition, it might say only supporting black-owned businesses or only to support
they go to
everything all
definition.
black. So when you say pro is the most extreme, I'm only buying from black people, I'm only reproducing, I'm only loving black people.
For me, pro-black means always putting the best interests of my people first in any situation or any decision that I have to make.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying? You ain't got to be you ain't got to be a black superhero. But I'm going to put my people's interests above anything else in front, above the church, above the mosque, and above other minority groups. My people come first. That's all it means to me.
For me, just in my small view, because my view wouldn't pertain to, of course, every situation, everyone's view, is that I think there's a lot of misunderstandings because there's not a lot of conversations, and there's not a lot of open conversations and uncomfortable conversations that people can have just to come to an understanding on things. And so the more that you're with someone, the more that you start to understand someone. And so, but when you're not, spending time with someone and you don't understand why they act the way they act. And listen, for me, being around white people, I now kind of start to understand why they do some of the things they do, and that's just going to come off wrong. But what I'm saying is that
why bring cheese and crackers to all their parties?
Yeah, why is there always cheese and crackers? You know what I'm saying? It's like it's one of those things. Is that it's not to come off wrong, but to say it's like outside looking in as a black person looking in at some of the white things. Like, why y'all do that? Like that's so backwards. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I would imagine a lot of white people will look at black people and say, why y'all do that? That's so backwards. There's not enough people being around each other to start to understand is like why certain groups of people do certain things.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I think that comes in every culture. I think it comes in Hispanics. I think it comes in Italians. It comes in every different. You know what I'm saying?
When you go to protests for black rights and police brutality and stuff, and you see other races that are out there and there are black people that would never be caught out there. I mean,
Okay. So because an
I'm
Asian
just go ahead.
or a Caucasian showed up for a George Floyd march,
Right.
that means they give a shit about black people. If white people care that much about black
ain't no
folks,
changes.
why didn't that woman who got Emmett Till murdered, why was she never arrested?
Still.
If white people care that much about black
After the
life,
confession.
why all these police that's going around killing black folks are not being held accountable? If white people care that much about black life, why don't we see it in the political and economic realities of black people?
Facts.
You know why they showed up to the George Floyd March?
Wow.
To dissipate the power of black people and to redirect the focus of those marches.
And this is where he loses me on some of this stuff because it's almost like anytime anybody that's non-black tries to do something, it's always this grand conspiracy about something. It's like with conversations that we've had with some of your side of the family, they want to understand more about, black culture and things like that. There is a want to understand is what I hear in the news or what I hear, that's promoted, because a lot of racial stuff is promoted nowadays in the news. I think it's more than when I was growing up is being promoted. I think the younger age range mixes more as far as the racial. It's still a lot of the older people because they grew up in a different time. They're kind of, they have their friends, and most of their friends are the friends of their race. And so with that being said is that I think, when, especially me, when I'm around, they ask questions because they want to know. And honestly, for the most part, I'm kind of open. There's sympathy because they feel like the plight from what they're hearing is, hasn't been very well for black people. and still isn't, fair for black people. And the thing is that I think with them asking questions, and with other people asking questions, basically they're asking to how can this be made better?
I was just gonna say, I think a lot of it too is like there's a lot of blame put on white people, but okay, not all of us want to fight this fight. Like we want to make it better, but how can we make it better?